confident again. Americans are up.
The world's two biggest economies are 9 months into a trade war that has cost billions of dollars, roiled financial markets, and upended supply chains. Trump's administration has slapped tariffs on $250 billion worth of imports of Chinese goods to press demands for an end to policies that Washington says hurt U.S. companies competing with Chinese firms. Trump's Treasury Secretary said earlier that trade negotiators are making a lot of progress. He told Fox Business Network there is more work to do, however, including enforcement. China has been keenly following the investigation of the Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft since the Ethiopian Airlines crash, said a senior official of China's civil aviation regulator, Civil Aviation Administration, CAAC, at a press conference in Beijing. On March 10th, Ethiopian Airlines ET aircraft ET302, a Boeing 737 MAX 8, took off at 8:38 local time from Addis Ababa Bole International Airport before losing contact at 8:44 and crashed near Bishoftu. All 149 passengers and 8 crew members aboard were confirmed dead. It was the second crash of a Boeing 737 MAX plane in less than 5 months after a Lion Air jet crashed in Indonesia last year on October 29th, killing 189 people. In the past month, CAAC has maintained close communications with the Boeing company and the Federal Aviation Administration FAA regarding the accident investigation and relevant safety measures. At present, in accordance with the airworthiness regulations, CAAC has inquired Boeing company and FAA about the airworthiness of the design of 737 MAX aircraft's flight control system and its changes. They're currently waiting for their responses, said Zhu Chaokun, head of the Department of Aircraft Airworthiness Validation at CAAC. China has also sent experts as invited by FAA to participate in the Joint Authorities Technical Review team established by FAA to investigate the Ethiopian crash. The team's mission is to conduct a special review of the examination work of the airworthiness of the 737 MAX aircraft's flight control system. It is to make sure the examination meets all applicable regulations and includes any improvements that may be required in the future, said Zhu. Regarding the lifting of the ban on the 737 MAX 8 aircraft, the CAAC emphasized that all the issues concerning the aircraft's airworthiness and safety operations and the problems detected in the accident investigation must be completely addressed first before the aircraft's allowed to resume operation. He said to resume the operation of an aircraft, airworthiness must be reapproved, modifications to the aircraft and pilot training have been completed, and the safety problems detected in the accident investigation have to be resolved. In this way, the flight safety can be guaranteed. People in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, have marked the 107th anniversary of the birth of the country's late leader Kim Il-sung, founder of the DPRK and grandfather of the current top leader Kim Jong-un. On what is known as the Day of the Sun, the country's most important national holiday, a series of political events and celebration activities were held throughout the nation. Kim Jong-un visited the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun and paid his respects to his late father and grandfather, the DPRK Central Broadcasting Station reported. Many people laid flowers in front of the statues of Kim Il-sung and his son and successor Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill in Pyongyang to pay tribute to their leaders. Meanwhile, streams of customers were seen shopping at Pyongyang Department Store No. 1, a major retail store in the capital, to mark the grand festival of their nation. In addition, over 1,000 students joined the festive dances at the square in front of the monument to party founding. Swinging through dense jungle and resting in nests by night, orangutans have proved difficult to track for scientists in Sabah on the southeast island of Borneo. Borneo's orangutan population has declined from 230,000 to an estimated 104,000 over the last century, making the species critically endangered, according to WWF. Traditional methods of observing orangutan numbers have relied on rough estimates. Typically, scientists must trek through the jungle and count nests, which is costly and time-consuming. However, this has changed with a groundbreaking study which combines ecology, astrophysics and drone technology. In collaboration with Liverpool John Moores University, WWF and Borneo Orangutan Conservation Group Hutan, a team of scientists flew a drone over the Borneo jungle for 6 days in May 2018. It was fitted with thermal imaging cameras to detect the orangutan's heat signatures. Such technology is often used by astronomers to study the luminosity of stars. The thermal technology works best in the morning and at early evening when the forest is at its coolest. The field team conducted 28 flights and successfully spotted 41 orangutans from the air, which was later confirmed by a team on the ground. Pygmy elephants and a troop of proboscis monkeys were also caught on camera during the study. The findings are promising and show the viability of this technology as an alternative to traditional methods. The team is also working on a machine learning algorithm to help tell the species apart from their unique heat signature. The next destination will be in Madagascar, where they will be testing the technology on Lac Aladotra bamboo lemurs. The operator of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant has begun removing nuclear fuel from a storage pool inside one of the damaged reactor buildings at the complex. This is the first time for Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, to remove fuel from any of the 3 buildings housing reactors that underwent meltdowns after the earthquake and tsunami in northeastern Japan about 8 years ago. Workers began lifting the first unit of unused nuclear fuel from the pool of the number 3 reactor building. TEPCO plans to move several of the 52 unused fuel units stored in the pool to a transport container during the day. The pool also holds 514 units of spent fuel. The container will then be transferred to another pool within the plant compound. Workers will conduct all the removal procedures by remote control. To prepare for the removal work, the firm cleared and decontaminated the top floor of the number 3 reactor building. A hydrogen explosion scattered debris on the floor during the 2011 accident, and radiation levels had been very high. Preparations and a series of problems that arose during the process forced TEPCO to delay the start of the removal operations by more than 4 years. It wants to finish the work by the end of March 2021. A national garden in central Tokyo is attracting foreign tourists by allowing them to see illuminated cherry trees and traditional performing arts during nighttime hours. Shinjuku Gyoen usually closes for the day at 6 p.m, but in response to requests from foreign visitors, it now opens between 7 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. for the 5 days from Sunday. Foreign tourists and others streamed into the garden when its gate opened at 7 p.m. on the first day. They took photos in front of about 20 illuminated cherry trees in full bloom. Visitors also relished the solemn atmosphere of no classical performances and Minyo folk songs. A 35-year-old visitor from Malaysia said the cherry blossoms were very beautiful and that his children also enjoyed them. A 47-year-old tourist from Luxembourg said she is very glad to know about Japanese culture and the beautifully quiet environment. Japan's been drawing a growing number of foreign visitors, but it faces the challenge of offering more nighttime sightseeing spots. The Environment Ministry manages Shinjuku Gyoen. It says it plans to regularly reopen the garden at night after the current special period ends.
Loves everything, and then it's really gives something special to the show as well.
Celebration is very beautiful, very nice. We are enjoying. The kids are enjoying the area.
The Malaysian government decided to go back to the negotiation table on the East Coast Rail Link ECRL project because its termination would cost 21.78 billion ringgit with nothing to show for it. Malaysian Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir said in renegotiating the project, the government called for a more equitable deal where the needs of Malaysians would be prioritised. He explained that the Pakatan Harapan government's main objection to the ECRL project was based on the way and speed at which the original contract was negotiated and signed in 2016. He said the agreement was unjustified, a hefty lump sum price which lacked clarity in terms of technical specifications, price, and by extension, economic justification. The project cost had been reduced to 44 billion ringgit from 66 billion ringgit, a 32.8% reduction in cost. With the new price tag, the construction cost is now 68 million ringgit per kilometre against 98 million ringgit per kilometre originally.
With the improved ECRL at 44 billion, the loan amount from China Exim Bank will be reduced substantially. The reduced amount is still being negotiated with China Exim Bank, and we foresee that this will result in lessening the financial burden of the government in terms of the principal repayment amount or the total interest cost and also other fees.
On April 12th, Malaysia Rail Link Sendirian Berhad and China Communications Construction Company Limited signed a supplementary agreement to pave the way for the resumption of the suspended project. The alignment length was originally 688 kilometres and is now reduced to 640 kilometres. The rail line will comprise 20 stations, of which 14 are passenger stations, 5 are combined passenger and freight stations, and 1 freight station. The ECRL will cut travel time between the east and west coast from 12 hours average to a mere 4 hours. ECRL will stimulate economic growth development, especially in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. It will attract investment along the railway corridor and generate significant employment opportunities. The project could resume as early as next month if approvals from the relevant authorities are obtained and is expected to complete by December 31st, 2026. Meanwhile, Dr. Mahathir said that the resumption of the ECRL project with China is a no trade-off for fugitive Malaysian businessman Lau Taik Zhou, or Zhou Lau, reported to be in China. He explained that the Harapan government's main objection to the ECRL project was based on the way and speed at which the original contract was negotiated and signed in 2016. The Malaysian Foreign Ministry is urging the United States to immediately remove Malaysia from the K list issued over concerns about kidnappings in certain parts of the country and will summon the American envoy in Kuala Lumpur for clarification. Malaysia's inclusion in the list was announced in a travel advisory by the US on 9th of April, where it stated that travellers should exercise increased caution in the Borneo state of Sabah due to kidnapping. The ministry added that the new travel advisory lacked objectivity and did not reflect the reality on the ground, particularly the security situation in eastern Sabah, which has remained safe and protected for tourists. This is borne by the fact that the number of tourist arrivals in Sabah has grown by 5.5%, which reached 3.87 million last year, and the number of kidnapping incidents has dropped significantly to almost nil. The success was the result of proactive measures taken by the government, such as increasing the number of patrols, closer security cooperation with neighbouring countries, and the strategic positioning of security assets to secure the areas. The Foreign Ministry in its statement also said that it will summon the US ambassador to Malaysia to provide clarification on the new travel advisory.
Berkata walaupun keanggotaan akan ditambah 150 orang, namun tugas untuk memastikan gabungan di kawasan S-Zone termasuk di Pulau Mataking, pantai timur Sabah, Eskom Datuk Muhammad Mentek.
5 Pakistani Taliban militants died when police and army commandos laid siege to a house in the northwestern city of Peshawar, officials said. 1 police officer was killed and 2 wounded during the 16-hour operation. It ended when the house was destroyed by what police believe was an improvised explosive device. Peshawar Police Chief Qazi Jamil said it was an intelligence-led operation and police were still confirming the identities of those killed. Muhammad Qurash Sani, a spokesman for the Pakistan Taliban, said in a text message to the media the 5 dead men were members of the militant group. The insurgent strength has been sapped in recent years by successive Pakistani military operations, leading to a sharp drop in militant violence in recent years. A dust storm swept through Pakistan's biggest city of Karachi and left at least 3 people dead and 20 more injured, local media said. Video showed winds dragging sand through the air, minimizing visibility on the roads. The blustery winds uprooted electricity poles and trees in different parts of the city, causing traffic blockages. Pakistan Meteorological Department PMD Director Sardar Sarfaraz told local media that the dust storm was stronger than expected, blowing at 65 kilometers per hour, reducing visibility to 500 meters. Local media reported that some flights from Jinnah International Airport were cancelled due to the storm.
Influence Taiwan through threats or coercion.
Chinese bombers and warships conducted drills around Taiwan, the latest military maneuvers near the self-ruled island that a senior US official denounced as coercion and a threat to stability in the region. James Moriarty, chairman of the American Institute in Taiwan, made the comment at a ceremony to mark the last 4 decades of U.S.-Taiwan relations. The United States has no formal ties with Taiwan but is bound by law to help provide the island with the means to defend itself and is its main source of arms. China has stepped up pressure on Taiwan, whose President Tsai Ing-wen, Beijing suspects, of pushing for the island's formal independence, a red line for China, which has never announced the use of force to bring Taiwan under its control. A delegation led by former U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives Paul Ryan was in Taipei to mark 40 years since the signing of the Taiwan Relations Act, which governs U.S.-Taiwan relations, and to reaffirm Washington's commitment. The visit by U.S. officials comes just weeks after Tsai said the United States was responding positively to Taipei's requests for new arms sales to bolster its defenses in the face of growing pressure from China.
Ask for a better friend than Taiwan. Taiwan is a democratic success story. It's a reliable partner. It's a force. Taiwan actively uses its own. So what does the United States want for the Indo-Pacific region and for the world as a whole? It is very simple and is very clear.